Hey Rip City, this is Anthony Simons, and it's time to open the briefcase with Casey Holdahl.
Greetings, Blizzard fans, and welcome to The Briefcase, episode 104 of The Briefcase. I'm your host, Casey Holdahl, coming to you live to tape on location here in Las Vegas. Portland Trail Blazers, after a week of practices at their facility in Tualatin, making the trip to Las Vegas to begin their 4-game stretch, actually at least 5-game stretch of games here in Las Vegas on the campus of UNLV as I participate in the 2024 NBA 2K Las Vegas Summer League, is what I believe what we're supposed to say from a sponsorship perspective. The Blazers are preparing themselves for their first game versus the Spurs by having a scrimmage versus the Chinese national team. The Blazers also gave out the second of their two-way contracts a few days ago. We also now know which group the Trailblazers are going to be in for the in-season tournament, or the Emirates Cup, I guess is what we're supposed to say from a sponsorship perspective, in the upcoming in-season tournament. And we'll hear briefly from Donovan Clingan about his first week of practices and his thoughts going into the Portland Trail Blazers 2024 NBA Summer League. All that and more, or less, I suppose, on this edition of The Briefcase. Well, while the NBA Summer League started on Friday, the Trailblazers not playing their first game until Saturday, July 13th, versus San Antonio Spurs, 6 o'clock start time at Thomas & Mack Arena, that one on ESPN2. 2 days later, the Portland Trailblazers play their second game in Las Vegas, July 15th, versus the Philadelphia 76ers, 5:30 start time for that one, also on Thomas & Mack Arena, but that game is on NBA TV. Portland's third game is the second game of a back-to-back versus the Washington Wizards, July 16th, 5:30 start time for that as well, also on Thomas & Mack Arena, also on NBA TV. And finally, the Trailblazers finished up their pre-tournament play by facing the Charlotte Hornets, July 19th, Friday, 8 p.m. start time for that one on ESPN2 in Cox Pavilion. So if you're in town, in Las Vegas for the games, the first 3 games at Thomas & Mack Arena, which is the bigger, nice arena, the final game, Cox Pavilion, the smaller, more intimate gym, I guess you would call it. After that, the Trailblazers will have at least one more game. If the Trailblazers are one of the top 4 teams, and that really comes down to a lot of different tiebreakers since a lot of teams end up with the same record, they move on to tournament play, which is a semifinal versus one of the other top 4 teams, and then potentially a final for the Las Vegas Summer League Championship on Monday. If they're not one of the 4 teams that qualify for the quote-unquote Summer League tournament, they will play one more game before heading back home. That game will either be on Saturday or Sunday. Since they play on Friday, that game will probably be on Sunday. But either way, at least 5 games for the Trailblazers, as many as 6 games if they make the tournament final, but 4 games on the schedule, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And again, all those games televised either on ESPN2 or NBA TV, so go ahead and check those out as well. First chance to get a look at Donovan Clingan, but also getting a chance to see how players like Chris Murray and Rayon Repair have improved over the offseason, and get a look at the player that the Portland Trailblazers signed to their second 2-way contract, and also see if there's any players on the team who are maybe not going to make the Portland Trailblazers this year, but who are maybe going to be on the remix this season, and maybe have a chance at some point in time to get a call up to the Trailblazers. So plenty to pay attention to here in Las Vegas. If you're here in Las Vegas, or if you're watching from home, great chance to get some off-season basketball. You already have some with the WNBA. You already have some later on this summer with the Olympics, but you also got Summer League as well. Worth checking out. Catch the future. See it now. NBA Summer League. Start Saturday for the Portland Trailblazers. But since they didn't have a game on Friday, the team had a scrimmage versus the Chinese national team at Mendenhall Arena, or Mendenhall Hall, I guess it's what it's called. Basically, the setup at UNLV is they have Cox Pavilion, which is connected to Thomas & Mack Arena through a little breezeway, and then they have their practice court, which is called Mendenhall Hall, I think, or the Mendenhall. You've probably seen Team USA practices there. That's where the Trailblazers having a scrimmage today versus the Chinese national team. Just played 3 quarters, so I guess they're periods if you only play 3, because they can't be quarters if there's only 3 of them. Chance to shake off the rust for the Trailblazers and get a little bit of run-in versus another team before they play the Spurs in their first Summer League game. Trailblazers did end up winning that 3-period game versus the Chinese national team 61-42. Thought Chris Murray had a nice game. Thought Donovan Clingan looked great in it. The Chinese national team has a number of large centers on their team, so Donovan able to kind of bang there a little bit. I think that was a good opportunity for him to kind of get some run-in since having not played, or at least not played really live action outside of the practice facility since being in the NCAA National Championship game. I thought Justin Minaya looked great as well. A little hard to tell too. Both teams kind of feeling each other out. Both teams, again, I think using it as kind of a practice, shaking off the rust a little bit. And I don't recall if the Spurs were playing in any of the other summer leagues, but if they were, the other thing too is that if you're playing a team that's already played a couple games at the other summer leagues and it's your first game of summer league when you haven't played a game since the season got over, either in the NBA or the NCAA or in the G League, you know, you could probably use a little bit of a chance to get up and down a little bit. So I think that's what the team used the scrimmage versus the Chinese national team for today. Nice collegial atmosphere in the gym. I think Blazers got accomplished what they wanted to get accomplished. I don't know if they kept stats or not. I tried to keep some for the first quarter and then realized there was really no point to doing that. But I thought both teams looked good. I think the Trailblazers looked considerably better than the Chinese national team, which is not exactly a surprise there. But either way, a good chance to tune up and just kind of get the blood flowing a little bit before they have their first game versus the Spurs here in Las Vegas on ESPN2. In other offseason news, Trailblazers signed Bryce McGowens to a two-way contract on Thursday, the second of Portland's three two-way contracts, Justin and Anaya having the first of those two ways. They expanded the number of two ways that teams could have last year from 2 to 3, so they still have one more spot left if they want to fill it. You might remember Bryce McGowan from his last two seasons with the Charlotte Hornets. He played 105 games, 21 starts, averaged 5.2 points on 41% shooting from the field, 1.9 rebounds, and 1.0 assists in 15.9 minutes per game. He also appeared in 10 games with the Greenboro Swarm during the 2022-23 NBA G League season. Trailblazers now have two players out of Nebraska between Bryce McGowens and Delano Banton, which they have to be the only team in the NBA that has two guys from Nebraska. They have to be. One would assume. McGowens is here in Vegas with the Trailblazers, playing in their Summer League team, played in the scrimmage versus the Chinese national team on Friday, had some nice plays. Nice athletic dunk as well for Bryce. And actually, let's go and hear what Bryce had to say after that game as well. His first comments as a Trailblazer after signing that two-way contract on Thursday. This is what Bryce McGowan had to say after the scrimmage versus the Chinese national team at Mendenhall Friday afternoon on the campus of UNLV.
In Charlotte for Summer League, so yeah.
Did you and Delano didn't overlap at Nebraska, did you?
No, we didn't overlap. He played with my older brother, so I know Delano very well, so that's my guy. Yeah.
Bryce, for folks that don't know your game, what kind of a quick synopsis of kind of how you play?
Yeah, just wiry, long, athletic, play with energy, just fun, like to compete. It's a game of basketball, so it's what I love.
What's been the last 24 hours for you? Just kind of coming back into the fire with a new team that quick.
Last 24 hours, it's been a lot. I would say, a lot of talking, a lot of outside stuff. So it just feels good to come back and get back in the gym and be stress free. So I'm blessed, like I said, and I thank God.
How do you kind of feel like you fit in? I mean, obviously coming in, these guys have been doing these summer league practices for like a week or so. You come in, you're fresh off the plane, just getting in. How do you feel like you fit in the first day?
First day, it was good. I've been here for about 2 days already. And I was in Sacramento playing with Charlotte, of course. So, I'm in a rhythm. I feel good, and I'm excited to play tomorrow.
So were you at another summer league, or were you playing a different one?
Yeah, I was with Charlotte in summer league, so in Sacramento. So that went well. We went 3-0, and we did good.
Yeah.
We did good.
I got you here, I guess, too. So.
Yes, sir.
How'd this go today?
Today was great. Got a feel for a lot of my teammates, a lot of the players. It was fun. Defensively, we played with a lot of energy, which I hope carries over. And offensively, we shared the ball. So now I'm definitely looking forward to playing with this group of guys.
In other NBA offseason scheduling news, while the NBA hasn't yet released the 2024-25 schedule, they have announced which teams are going to be in which groups for the 2024 Emirates Cup, also known as the in-season tournament, which starts on November 12th. The Portland Trailblazers are in West Group A with the Minnesota Timberwolves, the LA Clippers, the Sacramento Kings, and the Houston Rockets. Tournament play starts on November 12th, with the knockout rounds being held here in Las Vegas on December 14th and December 17th. While they changed the courts, everything else is basically the same. It counts towards your regular season record. The teams in each group with the best record move on to tournament play in Las Vegas. And then I think there's a semifinal or a quarterfinal, and then a semifinal, and then the final, with the winner of that obviously being the in-season tournament champion, or this year the Emirates Cup champion. I don't think there's any other stakes involved to win it right now, other than I think the players get some more money. But I've already heard talk about figuring out a way to maybe give a little more incentive to the in-season tournament, though I'd say that everyone seemed like once they got into the in-season tournament, I think people realized a little more juice in that for the players and the coaches than they might have expected. Anyway, I think the first in-season tournament went fairly well. I'm guessing there's some tweaks here and there they'll probably make as the years go on. But as far as I know, this year, same setup as last year. Trailblazers, as I mentioned, once again in West Group A versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, the LA Clippers, the Sacramento Kings, and the Houston Rockets. There's not any easy groups, but it's about a medium group, I would say. I think West Group C is probably the most difficult group. Who's to say? It also depends on how the games are scheduled. I don't think they have those games on second round of back-to-backs. But, if you're playing at home or on the road, that obviously has an impact. It's only one game versus each team in your group. Trailblazers will have to play some fantastic basketball early in the season in order to advance out of that group. But who's to say what happens? That's why they play the games. So once again, Trailblazers West Group A versus Timberwolves, Clippers, Kings, and Rockets. In-season tournament starts the 12th. Emirates NBA Cup, I should say, starts November 12th. And finally, let's go ahead and hear real fast from Donovan Clingan, who talked after the team's practice on Wednesday before the Trailblazers headed out on Thursday to Las Vegas. What I was curious about was, there's always a lot of talk about how Summer League is really more about guards and less about big men. And so I was curious to hear what Donovan Clingan had to say about that notion and just about the broader notion of centers in the NBA. As we've talked about time and time again, The league has gone to more of a pace and space and a stretch five kind of system where, you basically play smaller players who can stretch the floor more often than you play kind of traditional back to the basket centers. That seems like it's maybe changing a little bit. So I was curious to get Donovan Clingan's opinion on that, considering that both the NBA and Las Vegas Summer League, not necessarily always considered great places for big men to be able to go out and thrive. So I was interested to hear what he had to say about that notion. And I know that we're all very interested in seeing how he's going to play here in Las Vegas once the Trailblazers start their Summer League on Saturday versus one of Donovan's former teammates, Stephen Castle, and the San Antonio Spurs. So let's go ahead and hear real quickly what Donovan Clingan had to say after practice about his thoughts going into his first Summer League.
So after 3 or 4 days now, how do you feel like things are coming along for both you and for the team?
I think things are going really well. Just being able to build a connection with the guys on the floor. Getting ready for Summer League. Just building those relationships, building those great habits offensively and defensively. It's been a great few days of work. Getting ready for Vegas, and I could tell that everyone in this building is excited to get out there.
How excited are you to get out there and play a real game?
Yeah, it's been a while since I played a real game, live action. So to get out there in Vegas, it's going to be fun. I'm really excited, really amped up to go out there and compete again.
Is the newness of learning everybody, is that pretty fun?
Yeah, it's completely different. It's a different type of basketball. It's not college anymore. So, and you're really just trying to understand how, all your teammates play, how, what they do to succeed, how I could set better ball screens, how I could, hand the ball off better, really just trying to pick up on, different players and, how they need me to play for them to be, very successful.
You watched Summer League throughout the years?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been watching, especially recently. I watched a lot last year, especially with, Dama, Jordan, and Andre going into Summer League last year, so I watched a lot. It's cool seeing a lot of the young guys go out there and, compete for, spots and, just to battle it out. This is why you play basketball, is to compete. So, I'm really excited.
The reason I asked, too, is because a lot of times people talk about Summer League being a guards league and not as good for centers. Your thoughts on that? Because it seems like some of the centers so far playing this summer have had some success out there.
It's because the guards are punters and ball hogs.
Well, I'm not saying it's because of that, because they're out there trying to get paid, and they're like, well, if I score,
I'm not passing into the post. Go get my rebound.
That's not an indictment of big men. That's an indictment of the league. Yeah.
I just, for me, it's about winning. For me, it's not about the points. It's not about, am I getting the social media, recognition? No, for me, it's just winning. It's just about, how I can help my team win. It's not about, scoring 20 points. I'd be happier with 20 rebounds and, 7 blocks and, 5 assists rather than, 25 points. So, for me, I really, I'm just going to go in there with the same mindset of every other game and try to, attack my opponent and just win.
However, Coach Billups was bragging about your shooting ability. We've all heard these tales. Are we going to see it this summer? Are you expecting to be unleashed a bit?
Yeah, if I'm open, I'm going to let it fly.
But they're going to run more plays for you, hopefully. Are you thinking?
Yeah. Just try to get myself into the groove of, the league. Just try to adapt to the pace, the style of play. I feel like there's be some plays ran for me, and also, plays ran for me to get my teammates open.
I think you need 3 to 5 threes a game, personally.
All right, we'll see. Yeah, I'll get them up there.
Kind of in that same vein, there's been talk about like traditional centers not getting as much play in the NBA as they used to, but it seems like between guys like you and guys like Zach, it seems like kind of maybe the more traditional big center is making a bit of a comeback.
Yeah, I feel like on myself and playing against Zach, I could tell how badly he wants to win, and we both really are just out there trying to do whatever we can to help our teams win, and you could really see that. And that's what it's all about. It's not about the points. When you're big, it is about the rebounds. It is about the blocks for sure. But just trying to do the little things, trying to learn every day, trying to get better every day. For me, it's just how could I protect the rim at a high level? How could I defend at a high level? How could I, be the best teammate possible? How could I, learn every day? Be coachable, and that's going to find you playing time. And if I just keep getting better, keep putting the work in, keep learning, I know I'll be good.
What have you learned most about yourself this week?
That I could, play at a high level. I could compete. There's a lot more things offensively that I could do that, that wasn't able to showcase, at the college level just because, the style of play. But, I feel like I'm really excited for Vegas, and I'm ready to show what I can do.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for this edition of The Briefcase. Thanks so much for joining me. As always, more shows throughout the Trailblazers run here in Las Vegas. Once again, games on Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We'll have coverage from those games and some of the practices the team is sure to have in between. You might have another scrimmage versus another team as well, too. Typically, you try to get in as many games as you possibly can at Summer League because you have a lot of players. Sometimes they don't get to play, so the bench guys, you want to get them some run, too, to show respect for the work that they've put in. So maybe one more scrimmage, at least 5 games, up to 6 games. Should be an interesting run in Las Vegas here for your Portland Trailblazers. I'm looking forward to it. And if you did make the trip to Vegas, please stop by, say hello. I'd love to hear from you. So once again, thank you as always for joining me on this edition of The Briefcase. Like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And we're also on YouTube these days, as some of you are probably watching this right now. So please like and subscribe there as well. I'm Casey Holdahl in Las Vegas. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll talk to you soon. Go Blazers.
Hey, this is Chris Murray. Thank you for joining us on The Briefcase.